Hey, welcome back to the Sheetkeeper. Today, we are going to talk about aligning your numbers perfectly with the dates of paychecks. For some of you, this is a long-awaited episode, so I'm excited to get this in front of you. If you're new here, we've been building a free spreadsheet in Google Sheets to model out your entire financial future longitudinally with an at-a-glance view, so you can quickly make smart financial decisions and see how they'll impact you in the future. So you can do things like pay off debt, save money, plan for the future, all of that. So far, what we've been doing is assuming that our monthly expenses, things like rent, car payment, things that occur once a month, we've been aligning those with every other biweekly paycheck. So it doesn't work quite like that. In reality, those are going to hit once a month, and every once in a while, you're going to get 3 biweekly paychecks in a given month. So it doesn't perfectly line up. So today, we're going to show you how to make them perfectly line up. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been around, welcome back. You can call me E, and this is the Sheetkeeper channel, or thesheetkeeper.com. I'm wearing a beekeeper hat, but I'm not a beekeeper. I just do spreadsheets. I can't see you, you can't see me, so it's fair. And let's move on. Quick disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. I won't be giving financial, investment, tax, or legal advice. Go to a licensed pro for that. Now, today is a funny day because I'm going to suggest something that I usually don't. I firmly believe that you need to understand this as you build it so that you can apply it and customize it as we go. And so far, I have taught you every single formula in depth. I've taken time painstakingly to take you through all the steps to build this spreadsheet, and I will continue to do that because I think that if you really understand the guts of it, you'll have a better understanding of how to modify this and make it work for you. In that way, I think it's better than any app that's out there on the market right now. You can use it in conjunction with apps, sure. You can use apps to refine what you're doing, sure, but I love having this as the basis for your understanding of your financial future. And so the reason today is a strange day is because I actually recommend you don't do what we're about to do. I think you should skip this lesson. I recommend you just keep right on going with what we picked up in episode 4 and 5 and just skip over this and keep going with that because I think that that's close enough and it'll work for you. But for the haters and the ultra analytical, for people who say, these paychecks just don't line up perfectly with the expenses, and I don't want to do this manually, I have a solution for you, and that's what we're doing today. Also, even if you are ultra analytical and want to plug in this formula and do this yourself, I think it's great. I still recommend you download the spreadsheet, and I'm going to give you the spreadsheet just as it is before we start and just as it is after we finish, so that you can take a look at your own formulas, you can check your work, you can compare everything and make sure you've done it correctly. And if you want to use this, but you don't want to go through this lesson, this is the first time I'm going to say it, I'm okay with that. You can just download the spreadsheet that we're going to give you at the end of the episode. You can apply that formula, copy and paste it all over the place to your monthly expenses, and just use that going forward. That's fine. But if you're still here, I'm going to show you the formula and how to apply it. So let's go. Okay, what we're looking at here is the spreadsheet that we finished with at the end of episode 4. And in episode 5, we just kind of played with the spreadsheet, so we don't really have a special one that you need from episode 5. You'll just start with this one. And again, I'll put a link to it. And you'll see in our monthly expenses here, like our car payment as an example, all the expenses to the right just refer back to an assumption that you've made over here on the left. So if I look at E6, you can see the formula there is equal to B6. It's just saying, let's assume our car payment will always be $300 because that's the value over in B6. And that's the same formula that we have every other week. I'll scroll to the right, going out for 2 years. Just equal to $B6. Same value, same value, same value. And here's the problem with that. We want these expenses, like the one in E6, to always come out of the paycheck. You can see the date of that paycheck up here in E1. We want that expense to come out of the paycheck that's right before it. So if our car payment always comes out on the 20th of the month, well, here it's working correctly. We have the car payment We have our paycheck on the 14th of the month, and it's coming out between the 14th and 28th. So this is correct. If I go to F6, that's correct. We don't have to pay it there. If I go to G6, that's correct. We got paid on 12/12, and so 12/20, this is going to come out, and then we get our paycheck on the 26th. Let's scroll to the right. Let's look at I6 and J6. Well, we get paid on the 9th. This comes out on the 20th. We're okay there. In K6, we're still doing okay. And now in L6, we've got a weird issue. L6, that's the 20th of February, and that's the date that $300 is supposed to come out. Well, we shouldn't have paid it back here from the paycheck on the 6th. We could have waited to attribute that to the paycheck on the 20th. But because we're just plugging these in biweekly, it starts to get messed up here. Really, that 300 should be over here in L6, and it's not. So let's fix that. And when we're done today, you will see that $300 come out of that paycheck on 2/20/26. So follow along with me here. The first thing that we need to do is to add another column. And we've done that before. We want to add a column for the day of the month that our expenses come out. So I'm going to go and right click on column B up at the header here. I'm going to say insert one column to the left. And now we have a blank column. I'm going to call it day of month. Now let's go to cell B4. And in B4, follow along with me. I'm going to put in the day of the month that this expense comes out. But for now, for formatting purposes, and so Google Sheets keeps up with us, I'm going to put in 1/1/1900. The first of the month of January 1900. Don't worry, we'll get rid of that. We're going to reformat it. I'm going to do the same thing for the other rows where we have a monthly expense. So the car payment is coming out on the 20th, so I'm going to put in 1/20/1900. Car insurance, let's say that's the 25th, 1/25/1900. Cell phone, let's say it's the 10th, 1/10/1900. Electricity, let's say it's the 9th, 1/9/1900. Home internet, let's do the 8th, 1/8/1900. And then I'm going to leave credit card and savings alone because in the past episodes, we wanted to put a little bit into these accounts toward the credit card and toward our savings every single paycheck. So I don't really need a monthly date here. Discretionary, same thing. We're going to do our discretionary spending every paycheck, and irregular expenses are just going to come out every once in a while. So now let's reformat this column so that it just shows the day of the month and makes it look nice for you. I'm going to highlight the ones that we just put in. I'm going to go click the 1, 2, 3 at the top for more formats. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to scroll down to custom date and time. Click there. And then I get this window that comes up. Now, currently we've got a month, day, and year format, and we just want the day. So I'm going to click on the arrows next to month and click delete. I'm going to click on the arrows next to year and click delete. And then see these slashes? I'm going to take out the slash before and after the day. So we're just left with the day here as our format. I'm going to click apply. And you can see in column B that these now show just the day of the month. Let me just click this column and center this because I want it to look better. Center align. Okay, if you're with me, you should have a column B that looks a lot like mine. Now that we've got it formatted this way, you can change this number without typing the 1900 or anything. You could just change the rent from the first of the month to the second of the month just by putting a 2 in here. And it's already formatted correctly. Google Sheets keeps up with us. It knows that that is a day of the month now. Isn't that nice? I think so. Now here's the big formula. Let's start in our car payment column, say F6. For this value in F6, instead of just telling it to look at B6, what we want it to do is say, look over here at B6 to see what day of the month this is due. Now, look up at F1 to see the beginning of the pay period, and look at G1 to see the end of the pay period. We want the formula to produce a result that is, if the 20th of the month over there in B6 falls between the 14th of the month in F1 and the 28th of the month, but not on the 28th in G1, then display the value in C6. And if not, leave it blank. And that's just a complex formula. Let's show it to you. So if you're still with me, now we're in F6. It used to be E6, but we added a new column here, so it shifted over one. So we're in F6. And you can see it's still referring back to C6 to get the value. So what I'm going to do is put the big formula here, and I'll put it on the screen for you to see it clearly. We can plug it in together, but first I'm going to expand our formula bar. I just drag this line down so that you can see more space in the formula bar up here. We need all that room. So we're in F6. We're going to delete what's there right now. I'm going to start with an equals because we do for all formulas. I'm going to say let, open parentheses. I just did Command Enter to keep it organized. Start, comma, space, int, open a parentheses. $1, close the parentheses, comma. I'll do a Command Enter there. Stop, comma, space, int, parentheses, $1, comma, Command Enter again. Due day, comma, space, value, parentheses, $B6, comma, Command Enter. CAND, comma, space, date, all in caps, open parentheses, year, open parentheses, start, close the parentheses, comma, space, month, all in caps, open parentheses, start, close the parentheses, comma, space, due day, close the parentheses, comma. I'm going to do a Command Enter again. In when, with a capital W, comma, space, if, capitalized, open parentheses, CAND, less than, start, comma, space, EDate, all in caps, open parentheses, CAND, comma, space, 1, close parentheses, comma, space, CAND, close parentheses, comma, Command Enter again. If, in caps, open parentheses, and, all caps, open parentheses, in when, with a capital W, is greater than or equal to, start, comma, space, in when, less than, stop, close parentheses, comma, space, $C6, comma, and then 2 quotation marks. Close the parentheses, Command Enter, and close the parentheses. You can see that full formula displayed there. And then hit Enter, and it put 300 there. There's our huge formula up top. Now our car payment is due on the 20th of the month, and it should be showing up here. What I'll do is hit Command C on F6, Control C if you're on a PC. I'm going to copy that, Command V into G6, and it's doing the right thing. Nothing's showing up there. Let's paste it again, Command V into H6. Yep, it's showing up there. I6, it's not showing up. J6, it is showing up. K, it's not. Let me paste it again. L6, it's not showing up. And then M6, it is. So look at that. It fixed this problem that we used to have. We used to have the payment coming out of L6 on the 6th of the month, but we knew that the payment was supposed to come out on the 20th of the month, and we have a paycheck on the 20th. So it did the right thing. So I'm going to do a Command C on this formula, and I'm going to copy it all the way to the right. I'm going to fill this in all the way out to BE6, Command V, and now all of our values should show up underneath the correct pay date. Here's an example. In column AB, or on the 18th of the month, this is supposed to come out on the 20th, so it's coming out of the correct paycheck. Let's see where we skipped another month. There we are. AKAL, AM is the 19th. It's coming out on the correct paycheck. So I'm going to scroll all the way back to the left. This formula is now skipping the dates where you don't need to take that expense out, and it's putting it in the right date. So let's test this, and let's look over to the left at our day of the month column. Let's look at B6, and let's change this from the 20th to the 1st. And while we do that, let's watch the numbers on the right change. So I'm going to change this from 20 to 1, and I want you to stare at column F through H. I hit enter, and look, that payment now shifts to a different paycheck. Now it's supposed to come out on the 1st of the month, so it's coming out of the paycheck that happens right before the 1st of the month. So it works. I'll change that back to 20.
We gon' always win. Promise that that's not a promise, yeah, that is a threat. You know that I promise to bring the team commas.
And here's what we can do now. We can copy the formula that we just wrote, and we can paste that into all of the cells that have a monthly expense aligned with them. So if I hit Control C here, I can paste that in to F4. I can paste it into the insurance column, F7. I can paste it into the cell phone column, the electricity column, the home internet column, and those are all of our expenses. If I highlight this column, all of the expenses that we just looked at, so it's row 4 through 11, I can take this blue dot, I can drag this to the right, all the way through all of our expenses out to column BE and drop it. And it has now aligned all of our expenses with the correct pay dates. I'm scrolling back to the left here so we can double check this. Our cell phone is supposed to come out on the 10th of the month. Here we go. It's $85. It's coming out on the 28th here, which is the most recent paycheck before the 10th. It skips a day there because the next paycheck is on the 9th, where we had the 10th right after it, so 85 is coming out on the 9th. This is working correctly for us.
I can't take no loss. My team hold no L's, no.
So now that we pasted this in, let's talk about what the components of this formula actually do. I don't think you need to learn this because you can just copy and paste it, but just in case you're wondering, for the start and stop portions of the formula, the start portion is the pay period starting date, and the stop portion is the next pay period start date. And then INT with the parentheses is removing any of the hidden time of day values that go into the values in these cells so that the math works clearly. Due day, this just pulls the day of the month, like 1 for rent is the 1st, from the column where we just put in the due dates. Canned, C-A-N-D, is short for candidate date. This builds a date within the start month that matches your due date. InWin checks whether that candidate date actually falls inside of the pay period window. So in window, InWin is short for in window. If it's before the pay period starts, then it bumps it forward 1 month. And that ensures you're checking the next due date when the start of the pay period has already passed. And then the final if statement is if the adjusted due date is on or after the pay period start and before the next one, it checks for that. Otherwise, it leaves the cell blank. So if you've done this correctly and you scroll through every monthly value that you have, you should see the formula show up every time you have a monthly expense, and it should show up in the blank ones and in the populated ones. You can see as I scroll around, the formula looks almost exactly the same and just the columns and rows are changing. So that was a lot, I know. I warned you. But you can download it. I'm going to give this to you. You can just use this as your template going forward, and you can plug in values in column B and column C for the day of the month and for the amount that's going to come out, and it's going to work for you. And also for a little while, hey, just skip this and keep plugging in those biweekly values because it's not that far off in your assumptions. And as I always say, the big thing you need to look out for is row 17. Row 17 is where you put in things like food, gas, and entertainment. And those are the easiest things to overspend on because they're not regular recurring expenses. It's likely that row and your ability to budget and be disciplined is going to throw you off a lot more in the future than biweekly assumptions. Okay, if you made it this far, congratulations. You now have a very powerful tool here, and you can improvise with the skills that you've already built in episodes 1 through 6. I bet you can use what you've learned already to start projecting for investments and asset depreciation. If you're ready for that, go for it and make this work for you. And also, I'm going to show you how to do those things. So stick around for future episodes and we will go through many more real-life scenarios that may look a lot more like yours than we've done so far and learn even more about how to customize this to make it work for you. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one.
We gon' always win. Promise that that's not a promise. Yeah, that is a threat. You know that I promise to bring the team commas. When the whole team win, that's when you flex. Win. And I'ma do it again. Watch me win. Then watch me do it again. Tell 'em I can't take no loss.